The chamber of the Galactic High Council was filled with cold blue light. Huge banners of alien empires hung from the walls. The room smelled of rare spices and iron from distant worlds. 12 council members sat on thrones carved from crystal, their eyes glowing with pride. They ruled over thousands of star systems. They feared no one until today. A holoscreen floated in the center, showing a small blue planet Earth. Lines of text scrolled under it. Human species. Age 3 weak. Technology level. Primitive energy source. The Varkan leader, a tall alien with skin like black glass, raised his head and spoke with a sneer. Humans, he said slowly, pasting the word like something rotten. Barely crawling out of their mud, the others laughed. The sound was sharp, like broken metal. They burn rocks for power. Shouted a Ziran queen, her silver arms moving like ribbons. They still fight with bullets and ships made of iron. Another alien, with 4 jaws and eyes glowing red, slammed his fist on the table. And yet, they send messages to join the trade network. They think they belong among us. The laughter grew louder. It shook the walls of the chamber. 4. A moment, it felt like thunder. On the screen, Earth looked small, fragile, unimportant. That was what they all believed. They are nothing, hissed the council head, his voice deep and cold. They are insects. If they refuse our control, we will crush them. One fleet, and their skies will burn. Silence fell for a heartbeat. Then the chamber erupted with laughter again. But in the corner of the galaxy, someone was listening. Far away, on the dark side of Earth's moon, a man stood in a silent room filled with screens. Admiral Jack Mercer stared at the council broadcast. He was tall, his face marked by years of battles humans never spoke about. His eyes were calm, but deep inside, a storm was building. "They laugh," he whispered. His voice was low, but every word felt heavy. "They think we are weak." He walked slowly across the room. Behind him, giant windows showed Earth glowing. Blue and white under the darkness of Space. Jack touched a control panel. A secure channel opened, its light flashing red. The voice on the other side spoke quickly. "Admiral Mercer orders?" Jack closed his eyes for a moment. He thought of Earth cities, families, children playing in green fields. He thought of the sound of the council laughing. His hand tightened into a fist. "Activate Project Titan," he said. There was a long silence on the line. Then the voice answered. "Are you sure, Admiral?" "Yes," Jack said, his tone like steel. "It's time they see what we've been building in the dark." On the far side of the ocean, deep beneath black waters where no sunlight had ever reached, something ancient began to move. It was not a ship. Not in the way the galaxy understood ships. It was a beast of steel and fire, longer than mountains, hidden for decades. For years, humans worked in silence, building something they were never supposed to have. Something the galaxy would call impossible. The water started to boil as the massive hull began to rise. Chains thicker than towers snapped free. The ocean roared like a living creature. Waves crashed for miles. Above, in the stormy night sky, clouds twisted as lightning split the darkness. People on nearby coasts looked up in fear. They saw a black shape breaking through the waves. First a tower, then wings of metal, then a whole city rising from the sea. It was the Titan. The largest warship humanity had ever made. Bigger than anything the galaxy had seen in centuries. Its engines glowed with a blue light that wasn't from any normal reactor. Soldiers stood in silent rows, their armor gleaming under the storm. No one spoke. No one dared. The Titan was awake. And the stars would never be the same. Back in the council chamber, laughter still filled the air. They did not know what was coming. The Varkan leader leaned back on his throne, his black eyes shining. With arrogance, Send a message, he said. Tell the humans they have two choices: surrender or be destroyed. Far across the galaxy, Admiral Jack Mercer looked at the Titan through the glass. The ship was rising higher, ready to leave. Earth behind, Jack's voice was calm. Cold. Send a message to the stars, he said. And the Titan's engines roared like a god waking from a long sleep. Asterisk. The ocean was still boiling. Waves slammed against the coast as the Titan rose higher and higher, breaking through layers of storm and darkness. The water that fell from its hull came down like rain, drenching everything around it. Lightning flashed again, cutting across the night sky, revealing a shape that looked like a floating city forged from black steel dot. No one on Earth had ever seen anything like it. Not even the soldiers who worked on it every day. Inside the command bridge, Admiral Jack Mercer stood at the front window. His eyes stayed fixed on the stars beyond the clouds. Around him, officers worked in silence, their faces pale. They all knew what this launch meant. Once Titan left the planet, there was no going back. Jack's voice was low, but it carried like thunder in the silent room. Start the sequence. Yes, Admiral. Across the bridge, screens flickered. To life. Massive clamps disengaged with loud metallic thuds that echoed through the ship's structure. Vents opened, releasing clouds of steam that rolled across the deck like ghosts. The Titan's engines glowed brighter, a deep blue light that pulsed like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant. Unlike alien tech, this was human-made, ugly, heavy, and full of raw power. Jack placed his hands behind his back and stared as the first countdown appeared on the main screen. Launch in 60 seconds. His mind replayed the words of the alien council. Their laughter, their threats. They think we are weak, Jack whispered under his breath. Let's teach them fear. Far away, in deep space, alien sensors picked up something strange. A sudden spike of energy from the Sol system. Unstable. Unknown. Inside a cruiser orbiting a red star, an alien commander leaned over a glowing console. What is this? He growled, his voice sharp like broken glass. The officer beside him checked the readings again, her silver eyes narrowing. Power signature, massive. Bigger than anything they should have? From humans? The commander's jaws clicked in disbelief. She nodded slowly. They are doing something. Something big. The commander laughed, a harsh, metallic sound. Primitive creatures. Maybe they built another iron toy. Prepare a scout fleet. Crush them before they embarrass themselves. 7 sleek alien warships turned toward Earth, their hulls shimmering under distant suns. They moved fast, cutting through the void like knives. None of them knew they were flying toward death. Back on Earth, Titan roared to life. The sound was so deep, it shook mountains. The engines created a shockwave that tore through the ocean, sending waves higher than skyscrapers. People on every continent looked to the sky that night. Some prayed. Some screamed. Others simply stared in silence as a glowing blue streak cut through the clouds. The Titan was leaving. On the bridge, Jack gripped the railing as the ship climbed higher, faster than any human craft before it. The Earth curved below them, its surface glowing like a blue jewel. Navigation, Jack said. Set course for the outer rim. Coordinates locked, a voice replied. Engage warp drive. For a moment, the Titan hung in orbit like a predator watching its prey. Then the stars stretched into lines, and the warship vanished into the black. Minutes later, the alien scout fleet entered the system. Their sensors found nothing, no cities, no stations, just silence. Where is the human signal? The commander hissed. The officer's voice trembled. It's gone. Gone? How? They cannot hide from us. Before the words left his mouth, the lead cruiser's alarms exploded. Warning! Gravitational distortion detected. The space in front of them shimmered like heat waves. Then, out of nothing, a shadow appeared. A shape so large, it blocked the stars. The Titan. Its hull was black, lined with silver scars of plating. The blue glow of its engines burned like the heart of a dying star. Its weapons, massive rail cannons the size of towers, pointed directly at the alien ships. The alien commander stared in shock. What have the humans done? On Titan's bridge, Jack stood calm as ice. Targets locked, the weapons officer said. Jack gave one nod. Show them. The first shot fired a beam of compressed energy so bright, it turned the void into daylight for a heartbeat. The lead alien cruiser exploded instantly, breaking apart like glass under a hammer. The others tried to scatter, but the Titan moved faster than anything that big should move. Its weapons roared again, tearing through shields, ripping ships apart. Like paper. In less than 60 seconds, 7 alien warships were gone. Only wreckage floated in the dark. Jack stared at the drifting pieces. His voice was cold. Send a message to the stars, he said. And the Titan vanished into the black. Once more. Asterisk. The galaxy was quiet. For a moment, wreckage floated in the blackness where the alien scout fleet once existed. Pieces of burning metal spun slowly, glowing faintly like dying stars. There were no survivors, no distress signals, only silence. And silence was the loudest sound in the galaxy. Inside the Titan's command bridge, Admiral Jack Mercer stood like a statue, his eyes fixed on the tactical display as the last red enemy markers vanished from the screen. His crew whispered to each other in shock. 7 alien ships destroyed in less than 1 minute. It was not a battle. It was an execution. Jack finally spoke, his voice cold and steady. They know we're coming now. The communications officer turned from her console. Sir, should we send a warning? Jack shook his head slowly. No. Let them wonder. Let them be afraid. Outside the viewport, stars stretched endlessly. The Titan moved forward like a predator in the night, its engines glowing with quiet fury. Across the galaxy, panic began to spread. Inside the hall of Blades, the council chamber, the alien leaders waited for the return of their scout fleet. They expected a report. They expected laughter. Instead, they received something else. A holoscreen flickered to life in the center of the chamber. The signal was broken, full of static, but an image forced its way through. For a second, the council saw something that made their blood freeze. A black warship, larger than anything in their databases, surrounded by burning wreckage. Blue light pulsing from its engines. Guns the size of cities pointing straight at the screen. And a single word stamped across the transmission in human language. Titan. The image cut to black. The chamber erupted in chaos. What is that? How can humans have this? This is a trick. The Varkan leader slammed his clawed hand on the crystal table. The sound cracked like thunder. Silence, he roared. His black eyes glowed with fury. It is one ship. One. We will crush it like an insect. But deep inside, even he felt something cold crawl into his heart. Fear. Back aboard Titan, alarms sounded across the bridge. Admiral, the sensor officer shouted. Massive energy readings. They've deployed a huge fleet intercept course. Jack turned to the display. Dozens of red markers appeared. Then hundreds. Cruisers, destroyers, dreadnoughts, all moving like a tidal wave of fire and steel. The crew exchanged nervous glances. They were brave, but they were human. And humans had never faced a force this big. Jack's voice cut through the fear. Calm. Controlled. Deadly. Battle stations. Arm all weapons. Prepare the Titan for first strike. The deck vibrated as massive cannons slid into position along the ship's sides. Armor plates locked in place with deep metallic groans. Energy shields flared blue like ghostly fire. The Titan was ready to kill. Far in the void, the alien fleet approached like a storm. Ships stretched across space like a steel wall, their weapons glowing with alien energy. The enemy commander spoke over comms, his voice cold with hatred. Target the human warship. Burn it from existence. Show them what happens when insects defy gods. His fleet spread out, forming a killing net. Every gun turned toward Titan. And then Titan moved. The human warship accelerated like no one thought possible. For something that big, it should have been slow. But it wasn't. It was fast. Too fast. On the bridge, Jack gripped the railing and gave the order. Fire. The void exploded. Titan's main railgun fired first, a beam of compressed energy so bright it lit up an entire sector of space. The shot hit the lead alien dreadnought and split it in half like paper. Both halves burned as they tumbled into the dark. The alien formation broke apart in panic. They fired back, filling space with streaks of green and red plasma. The Titan danced between the blasts like a shadow. Its shields flared, glowing with sparks of blue fire. Port cannons. Full spread. Jack commanded. The Titan unleashed it. Storm. Giant cannons roared, hurling projectiles the size of buildings, smashing through enemy shields, tearing cruisers apart. Missiles streaked from hidden bays, splitting into swarms that hunted smaller ships like wolves chasing prey. Alien voices screamed over open comms. Shields failing. Pull back. Pull. The transmission ended in static. One dreadnought tried to ram Titan and never got the chance. A gravity lance fired from Titan's underbelly, bending space like glass. The alien ship twisted, crumpled, and vanished into a glowing tear. The first wave of 50 ships was gone. Not a single one survived. On Titan's bridge, the crew sat in stunned silence. The stars outside were filled with burning wreckage. Jack's voice broke the silence. They called us primitive, he said softly. Now they will call us something else. He turned to the comm officer. Open a channel, he ordered. Broadcast this across the galaxy. The officer hesitated. What message, sir? Jack stared into the stars. His eyes burned with fire. Tell them, he said slowly, the age of humanity has begun. Asterisk, the galaxy did not sleep that night. Across 1,000 worlds, from crystal cities to burning deserts, the same image spread through every screen and comm channel. A black warship standing alone in space, surrounded by the burning ruins of an alien fleet. One name flashed on every report. Titan. Asterisk on the pleasure moon of Gelara. Music stopped in the grand halls as holoscreens lit up. Thousands of alien aristocrats stared in silence as they saw something they could not believe. Humans winning a space battle. On the mining colonies of Ixer, workers dropped their tools when they saw the footage. They whispered one word to each other in fear. Humans. Even on the war throne of the mighty Xeran Empire, the Empress slammed her clawed hand against her seat. Sparks flew from the force of the strike. Her eyes burned like molten silver. As she hissed, they were supposed to be weak. But the most fear was in the Hall of Blades, the Galactic Council Chamber. Hours ago, they had laughed at Earth. Now, the laughter was dead. The chamber was filled with shadows and silence. Holoscreens floated in the air, showing the wreckage of their fleet. 7 cruisers in Part 2, 50 ships now, all gone. No survivors. The Varkan leader spoke first. His voice was low, but it shook, like distant thunder. This cannot be possible. It is possible, snapped the Xeran Queen, her silver arms trembling. The humans have a weapon beyond anything we imagine. An older counselor hissed through sharp teeth. 1. Ship cannot defeat an empire. Deploy the second wave. Bring the Oblivion Armada. No, Another voice cut in a deep, cold voice. The entire chamber turned to look at its owner, Lord Varix, the strategist feared by all. His eyes glowed green like dying suns. "You still don't understand," he said softly. "This is not just a warship. This is a message." Cut 2. Titan. The warship drifted in a quiet corner of space, its black hull glowing faintly in starlight. Inside, the crew repaired damage from the first battle. Sparks fell from broken panels. Engineers worked in silence. Admiral Jack Mercer stood alone near the viewport, staring at the stars. His reflection looked back at him, a tired man carrying the weight of Earth. A voice broke the silence. "Sir?" said Commander Reyes, his second in command. "The message you sent, it's everywhere. The galaxy knows about Titan now." Jack didn't turn. His voice was calm, but it carried steel. "Good. Fear will slow them down." Reyes hesitated, then spoke softly. "Sir, what if fear isn't enough?" Jack finally turned, his eyes cold blue fire. "Then we show them what comes after fear." Asterisk across the galaxy. Chaos spread like wildfire. Some alien empires offered peace immediately, begging for treaties with Earth. Others prepared for war, building fleets larger than anything in history. Trade networks collapsed as merchants refused to cross human-controlled space. On distant colonies, ordinary aliens whispered stories about humans, their strength, their strange courage, their ship that burned stars in dark corners. Spies met in silence. Where did humans get this power? Who gave it to them? What else are they hiding? And then the rumor began. Titan is not the only one. Back on Titan's bridge, alarms flashed red. "Admiral," the sensor officer shouted. "Reading?" "Something massive, bigger than anything we've seen." Jack walked slowly to the main display. His crew held their breath. The screen showed an energy spike, so large it distorted space itself. The alien council had unleashed something monstrous as superweapon, designed to erase stars. Reyes whispered the words everyone feared. "Sir, if that thing fires, it won't just kill us. It will kill Earth." Jack's jaw tightened. His voice was ice. "Then we take it out before it fires." "Ready, Titan, for warp." The crew froze. One officer spoke in a trembling voice. "Sir, that's suicide." Jack stared into the black void ahead. His lips curled into the smallest hint of a smile. "Then let's make it one hell of a suicide." The stars burned red dot in the void beyond the Orion belt. A giant shadow moved against the darkness. The Titan, Earth's greatest weapon, was running at full power. Its engines glowed like blue suns, bending space as it tore across the galaxy. Toward a nightmare dot, because ahead of them was something no one should ever build. "Asterisk, Admiral," said Commander Reyes, voice tight with fear. "We're closing in on the energy signature." Jack Mercer didn't answer. He stood in front of the viewport, his hands behind his back, eyes locked on the streaks of stars outside. His jaw was like stone. He already knew what they would find. Then the sensor officer spoke, her voice trembling. "Sir, you need to see this." The main display lit up, and the entire bridge fell silent. Floating in the void was a weapon the size of a moon. A black sphere, covered in glowing scars of alien runes. Energy burned inside it like a caged star, pulsing with a rhythm that felt alive. The Council had named it Oblivion, a weapon designed to erase entire systems with one shot. If it fired, Earth would be gone in seconds. Every city, every ocean, every life. The crew stared at it, their faces pale. Someone whispered, "That's not a weapon, that's a god." Jack spoke at last, his voice calm like ice water. "How long until it fires?" The officer swallowed hard. 20 minutes, maybe less." Jack's answer was cold and sharp. "Then we end it before it wakes." Asterisk on the bridge, tension gripped every soul. The Titan was powerful, but against this? Reyes stepped closer. His voice was low. Jack, if we attack that thing head-on, we won't survive. Jack turned slowly. His eyes were steel. If we don't, no one will. The words hit like a blade. No one argued. No one moved. Because they all knew he was right. Asterisk, arm the gravity lance, Jack ordered. Prepare railguns. Charge the plasma coils to maximum. The Titan's hull shifted as massive weapon systems slid into position. The ship growled like a beast ready to kill. Lights turned blood red across the bridge. Warning sirens echoed down the corridors. The crew strapped in as the Titan moved closer to the monster in the dark. Then, the alien weapon opened its eyes. Oblivion. Pulsed with white fire, sending shockwaves through space. Space-time itself rippled like water. The Titan shook as alarm screamed. Sir? It's charging faster 10 minutes until firing. The officer shouted. Jack's voice cut through the chaos. Fire everything! Asterisk Titan roared. The main railgun fired first, a beam of energy so bright it tore through the dark like lightning from a god. It smashed into the alien weapon's armor, ripping deep scars across its surface. Then came the plasma coil's lances of white fire spiraling across the void, exploding against Oblivion's shields. Missiles launched in swarms, curving like angry hornets, striking with fire that shook the stars. The alien weapon fought back. Energy bursts exploded outward like novas, ripping chunks from Titan's armor. A single blast burned through 3 decks, killing dozens in a heartbeat. The bridge shook violently. Sparks rained from shattered panels. Smoke filled the air. But Jack stood firm. Again, he roared. Hit it again. The Titan struck with everything. Gravity lances twisted the void, bending light as they ripped through alien metal. Oblivion screamed, a deep vibration felt in the bones of every soul for light years. Asterisk, finally. The alien weapon cracked open. Its core burned white, spilling fire like a newborn star. Titan unleashed the final blow, a railgun shot so powerful. It shattered space itself. The Oblivion weapon exploded in a storm of light. For a moment, it was brighter than every sun in the galaxy. The shockwave hit Titan like a planet. Metal screamed. Decks shattered. Entire sections tore away into space. The bridge went dark. When the lights flickered back, Reyes turned slowly. His voice was hollow. Sir, we did it. Jack stared at the burning wreckage outside. His face was calm, but his eyes told another story: pain, loss, and something darker. How many? He asked quietly. The answer came like a knife. Half. The crew gone. Jack closed his eyes. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then he whispered the words that would haunt them forever. This is the price of power. Asterisk, the Titan was bleeding. Its black hull, once flawless and sharp, was now torn. Open in a dozen places. Fire burned behind cracked armor plates. Smoke coiled like black ghosts inside the corridors. Entire decks had gone silent, no voices, no life. And still, it moved, slowly, painfully, but with purpose. Because the fight was not over. Asterisk, sir. Incoming. The words came from a voice broken by fear. The officer's hands shook as he read the sensor display. Jack didn't look up. He already knew. How many? He asked quietly. The answer was a whisper. All of them. The screen filled with red markers. Dozens. Hundreds. Thousands. The largest armada the galaxy had ever assembled. Every empire, every fleet, united for one purpose: to kill a single human ship. And they were already here. Asterisk space itself turned. Red as the alien fleet exited warp. Cruisers, destroyers, dreadnoughts. So many they blotted out the stars. A wall of steel and fire, stretching farther than the eye could see. On the lead flagship, an alien overlord watched through burning eyes. His voice rolled like thunder across the comnet. Erase them. Erase Earth. Leave nothing alive. The Armada began to move. Inside Titan's shattered bridge, alarms screamed. Sparks fell from broken panels. The crew worked in silence, their faces pale, eyes hollow from exhaustion. They had lost friends, family, pieces of themselves. Jack stood at the center, calm like a storm before the strike. His voice cut through the chaos. Status. Reyes swallowed hard. Main railgun is gone. Shields are failing. Engines at 30%. Admiral, we can't win this. Jack turned slowly, his gaze like iron. Maybe not, but we can make them remember us. Jack moved to the center console and slammed his hand down. A hidden screen opened with a single red word, Valkyrie. Reyes stared in shock. Sir, that's a one-way strike. I know, Jack said. His voice was steady, too steady. If we overload Titan's core, jump into their formation, and detonate, we can wipe them out. All of them. The bridge went silent. The crew looked at him with wide, hollow eyes. Someone whispered, "That's suicide." Jack looked at them all, one by one. His face was calm, but his voice burned like fire. Every second we live now buys Earth another hour. Another day. Maybe another chance. That's enough. Titan turned slowly toward the heart of the alien armada. Its engines roared with dying fury. Pieces of its hull broke away, floating into the dark. Fire trailed behind like the tail of a comet. The alien fleet opened fire. The void erupted with green and crimson light as plasma bolts slammed into Titan's broken shields. Metal screamed. The ship shook like a beast in chains. But it kept moving. On the bridge, Jack gripped this railing. His knuckles were white. Forward, he said softly. Don't stop. Titan fired every weapon it had left. Railguns spat glowing projectiles into enemy lines. Missile bays launched storms of fire. Cannons roared like thunder across the void. Alien ships exploded in blossoms of light, their screams filling the com-net dot, but the Armada pressed closer, pouring endless fire into Titan. Decks collapsed. Corridors filled with smoke and flame. Crew members died at their stations, their hands still on controls. Reyes stumbled to Jack's side, blood on his uniform. Core overload at 90%, he said hoarsely. Once we reach their flagship, it's over. Jack nodded. His voice was barely a whisper now. Good. Let's give them a death worth remembering. The alien flagship loomed ahead, massive and bright, surrounded by a wall of ships. Titan tore through the line like a black spear, ramming destroyers. Aside, breaking through with raw fury. Inside the bridge, lights flickered. Smoke filled the air. Jack looked out one last time at the stars. He thought of earth-blue skies, green fields, laughter. Then he spoke the last words his crew would ever hear. Activate Valkyrie. The console flashed red. The countdown began. 10, 9, 8. The Titan's core glowed like a newborn star. Alien commanders screamed orders. Fleets scattered in panic. But it was too late. 3, 2, 1. And then the galaxy went white. The end.